Hey guys, Sinister here at Bad Company Gaming, and this time I thought we would talk about why I dropped out of competitive playing on Battlefield. And I know that will make a lot of people snicker when I say competitive and Battlefield within the same sentence, but let me get to that part. As many of you know, the Battlefield Hardline beta has come to a conclusion, so I decided to go back and play some Battlefield 3, and whenever I do, I can't help but think about my competitive days on the game. It's hard not to think back on it fondly. And I've had a couple people ask me why I quit playing quote-unquote competitive Battlefield if I liked it so much, so I thought that I would sort of explain that. A little bit about the gameplay. I'm using the exact loadout that I used to use in my competitive days. It's the M416 with a heavy barrel and the Cobra red dot sight, and I'm running, I believe, the 1911 as my secondary, but I don't know that I actually use it at any point in the video here, and then I wind up picking up a guy's M16 at some point. And anyway, I started off the match kind of strong and then maybe pulled it out a little bit closer to the end as well, but it was mainly this original streak here that made the gameplay clip worth it. So yeah, why did I quit? Well, we should start with who I played with and what kind of stuff we did do. I was playing with IGR, the Independent Gaming Republic, as they call themselves. I honestly don't know if they're still playing. I don't know if they're on Battlefield 4 yet. Because once I quit playing with them, I just pretty well quit talking to any of them, because I just didn't want to be a part of it. But I always think of those days as being pretty fun, but then I think about all the extra hassle and work that it took to keep competitive play up. So we played competitive team deathmatch versus a lot of other clans, sometimes squad rush, and even domination at times on the close quarter DLC. But for the most part, I would say it was just deathmatch clan battles. So it wasn't like a world circuit or anything, but it was competitive within the effect that we were pretty much battling for the name of best clan out there within a certain group of clans that wanted to battle all the time. So we were having a lot of fun with it. But at the same time, I mean, it wasn't technically competitive play within, like money being at stake or anything. We weren't like pro gamers or anything like that. But we did pretty good. I think we wound up second place at the end of all of our different battles that we had. But either way, I mean, it was a blast to do, so why did I quit playing it? Well, we should start off with this loadout here. I bet some of you are wondering why I used the M416 instead of the M16A3 or maybe even the AEK. Well, whenever the clan started doing the competitive matches, no one was assigned a certain type of rifle or anything, so we already had so many M16 and AEK gunners that we needed a long-range rifleman, and I was the newest recruit, so I had to take that place and use the M416 all the time. Which, not that I'm complaining. I mean, the M416 is a fantastic rifle. It's not what I would have used had I had my choice. On certain maps, I would have preferred to use the M16. But, the 416 is a perfectly adequate rifle for doing just about anything that the M16 can. One advantage that I did have over a lot of the clan members, though, was the fact that I started doing YouTube not long after we started our competitive play, so I had been getting good with a lot of the other weapons in the game, so whenever we would kill someone or when one of our buddies would go down, I could pretty much pick up that gun and be scot-free and not have to worry about it because I'd already had a fair amount of practice with pretty much every weapon in the game. All that to say, though, weaponry isn't exactly the reason that I quit. It's just you can sort of begin to see that level of control that a lot of clan admins, I guess you could say, like to have over their clan members, because they pretty much tell you what gun you're going to use, what playstyle you're going to use, how everything is going to go down. So after about 6 months of competitive play, I really was enjoying doing YouTube. It's obviously not successful at all even now, almost over a year later. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know, I was getting a little tired of the competitive play because it made me such an aggressive player that it was hard to enjoy casual play with players that were roof camping or using shotguns or anything. We didn't allow that in our competitive matches. So whenever I would hop back into a regular server and that kind of nonsense would go down, it would get all over me, because honestly, like, the only way that I was able to put up with with the shotguns as it was before I started playing competitively was just the fact that, like, I knew why people used them because of how effective they were in close quarters, and you can't really blame a person for wanting to have that advantage. But once I got into competitive play, and shotguns were not allowed in the competitive play, nor were bolt actions with scopes under 7 times magnification. So most of the time we didn't really run into that issue. So then whenever I would hop into a public lobby and run into those things, I just almost shot into the atmosphere, I think, almost every single time. So it was making me a very arrogant and aggressive player during casual play, and with my actual clan, KUA, I wasn't in IGR. I was playing with IGR as the independent variable, so I wasn't, like, technically on the team or whatever, but I was just playing a lot with them. And in my actual clan KUA, whenever we would play, it was just casual play. So if we wound up in a pub server where there was a bunch of shotguns and campers, it just got all over me, and it was making some of the clan members get really upset with me. And I don't blame them at all for that, because I personally would be rather upset if I had to listen to, complaining about shotguns and Call of Duty snipers and everything else in the game all the time. It's not exactly the most fun thing to listen to. So there was that variable, and then there was just the entire fact that, like, competitive play gets very, very, very boring after a while, because you have to use the same weapon all the time. You're playing the same, types of games with the same people all the time, and there's just not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of variety or variation there. So it gets kind of old kind of quickly. And I mean, I wasn't the best competitive player out there. I was able to hold my own versus almost any of the clans that we played against. So it was to the point where it was like, if I was gonna, I had to make a decision. I had to make the decision to stick to it and continue on with the competitive play, or I had to make the choice to drop out right before Battlefield 4 came out. And when I played the Battlefield 4 beta, I could just tell that competitive play for Battlefield was it was over. Battlefield 4, the netcode is nowhere near good enough for competitive play. So when the beta hit, I could pretty much tell that immediately. Whereas with Battlefield 3, I mean, the netcode is nowhere near perfect in this game. It's a heck of a lot better, and it did allow for some pretty darn competitive gameplay, as long as everyone had a reasonably low ping of under about 70 milliseconds or so. So, I mean, there were a lot of independent variables, but I think the biggest deciding factor was the fact that Battlefield 4 wasn't going to offer much infantry competitive play. It was all going to be conquest and rush, and I just don't think that that's a very good setting for competitive play. And honestly, I don't even think that deathmatch is that great of a setting for competitive play. I thought that squad rush made a heck of a lot more sense, but deathmatch was just a lot more entertaining, because we would have like 12 or like 5 or 6 clan members versus 5 or 6 clan members, and then some randoms to shoot up on and totally pub smash the entire server. So that was definitely fun. But at the same time, I mean, you had to risk the fact that almost every single game everyone would back out that wasn't playing within the competitive aspect of the server. So there was a lot of hate that we got with our little circuit there. But at the end of the day, I think that the deciding factor was just Battlefield 4 was going to be the end of competitive play as it was. Now, if you want to look up IGR, the Independent Gaming Republic, I believe they still have a website. I don't know if they're playing Battlefield 3, if they're still playing Battlefield 4. I don't know what they're doing, but I do know that they used to exist, and I used to play with them, and I used to have a really good time. So definitely look them up if you want to get into maybe a little bit of a clan battle competitive scene of Battlefield, and I highly recommend that you check these guys out and see if they're up to letting you in. I mean, go ahead and just play with them a while. Message up Arsenic. That was a guy that I got close with, and he actually invited me into the clan. I had to make a whole new gamer tag or whatever. You have to make, caps lock IGR, the name of a color, and then something else, I believe was the regulations on names. But I mean, it was a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun to play with. I don't mean to hate on the clan or any of the clan members for that matter, but I would definitely say that the deciding factor had to be Battlefield 4 and its garbage netcode. The Frostbite engine is just going to be prone to it until they come up with a new version of it. I thought Frostbite 2 was a fairly sufficient game engine, so I don't know why they decided to remaster it for Frostbite 3 for Battlefield 4. I really am just at a total standstill as to what happened right there. So at the end of the day, you know, if you guys want to play competitively, I don't, like I said, I don't know if they're still going, but I know that there are some competitive clans out there, and the best way to get into it is just to hop into one of their servers and you know, see if you mesh with any of the guys, if you get along with them, if you're a good player. You know, eventually, if you play with them long enough, they'll ask you if you want to get into the clan and start playing with clan battles and things. That's how I wound up getting into it, and I hope that it works out for you guys. So as we bring this game to a close here, I really hope that you have enjoyed this sort of story as to why I quit playing competitive Battlefield. I know that a lot of you are going to snicker if you hear competitive Battlefield, but you know, either way, it was what we did, and I'm doing it no longer. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see all of you out on the battlefield.